Good morning. My name is Alan Chhabra, as Ruben mentioned. I'm going to start my session with a short video, so just give me 1 minute. Fantastic. So first off, I'm very honored to be here in Spain today. I'm not from Spain, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and it's been quite a journey getting here. And the excitement in the region about big data with our partners at Paradigma and Stratio is second to none. At Mongo, I get the chance to travel all around the world. I was in London earlier this week. Prior to that, I was in Las Vegas, and I'm in New York, and I can't tell you that this room really has set everyone else apart. You're really at the highest level in terms of your knowledge on big data. I've been watching some of the presentations, Oscars in particular, and the knowledge in this room is phenomenal, so kudos to you. Today I'm going to share a little bit about MongoDB. Okay, I'm going to tell you the story about MongoDB. This is not a commercial. I just want to give you an education about what MongoDB is and how it fits in the database landscape. And the database landscape is growing. It's changing, and it's a pretty disruptive landscape. I'll also tell you how CIOs of today are really chief innovation officers. And behind all the CIOs out there that I've seen are developers. And developers truly are the innovators of today. Enterprises today are using software to become competitive. They no longer are surely hardware companies or people companies. They're using software, big data, AI, IoT, and cloud to extend themselves and differentiate themselves. If you look at the industry, there's just a lot of data out there. I think folks have probably heard in the last 2 years alone, 90% of the world's data has been created. In this room right now, data is being created. If you have a mobile phone, you've taken a picture or sent a tweet, or you potentially have FaceTimed with your family back home, or you've gone and maybe even paid a bill on your online banking app. You're creating data. In the last 2 years alone, 90% of the world's data has been created. And the data now is different, okay? In the 80s and 90s, data was really just ERP-type data, where the customer's social security number, their address, and so forth. Today, data has changed. Data is now unstructured. Data can no longer fit inside a traditional database. Traditional databases, and folks in the room, if you don't know databases, okay. Databases are places to store data. A traditional database are rows and columns. Think of it as a very, very robust spreadsheet. Everyone knows what a spreadsheet is. In the last 5 years and 2 years, data can't fit in that spreadsheet. How do you take a photo and put it inside of a row and a column of a spreadsheet? How do you take a GPS location coordinate and put it into a row of columns? You just can't. So the data has become unstructured, and that's why you're seeing a disruption in the database world. Now, Mongo has become one of the top 3 most popular databases in the world after the incumbents, because we've tried to solve this problem, but not just helping our customers, which are developers, and our partners by putting data in the database, but helping develop applications around the data. That's the true difference between what we're trying to do and what's happening in the industry. There's just a lot of data out there, and application developers need to figure out how to use it to help their CIOs innovate so that these companies can become true software companies. This stat here shows the market of the database sector. It's a $40 billion market. To put this in perspective, the ERP sector is a $26 billion market. This market is just huge. And there's a very large incumbent in this market, Oracle. And we at Mongo consider Oracle one of the first great software companies in the world. But they truly developed a product for the 1980s and 90s, and that product now has challenges to fit this world of unstructured data, and that's why it's becoming disruptive. Microsoft is the second incumbent in the space. They have similar challenges, but what this has done, it's created a market where companies like Mongo can innovate to try to capture some of this market share. It's growing quickly at 10% a year. It'll probably grow faster. And with partners like Paradigma and Stradio, the innovation that they're driving, especially here in Spain, companies like Telefonica, we see the market just growing faster than this. And we hope MongoDB will be a big presence in this space, and one day maybe we will be the incumbent out there. But right now you see the vertical is right there. And I mentioned about the CIOs. So data, while important, isn't the source of truth. It's the developers developing applications. What are you going to do with this data? So we go around the world, we meet those chief innovation officers or CTOs, and they give us a common theme. Digital transformation is nothing new. Everyone's been trying to innovate for the last 10 years. We heard the story about Netflix. You know the stories about Uber and Airbnb. They're innovators, right? But enterprises as well are trying to innovate. Big banks, retailers, financial services companies, they're innovating as well. What we've heard time and time again is that innovation is hard and digital transformation is hard. How can I do it quickly? How can I do it cost effectively? Many of them have tried to innovate and they've lost money. So how do they do it the right way? All right, so digital transformation is not as easy as people think. So how did MongoDB come to even be here as a company? So in 2008, our founders were creating a database for a new company that they were trying to create. These founders came from a company called DoubleClick. If you know what DoubleClick is, they were the first online media and advertising company that really innovated that space. They're a very big success story. So the innovators, the founders of the company came out of DoubleClick and wanted to create a new company, but they figured out that for all this online advertising data, you cannot use a relational database. They created a new database. And instead of going down the path of starting the new online advertising company, they figured out that database is probably the product that they should build a company around. So in 2008, they launched MongoDB. And MongoDB is one of the first NoSQL databases in the world. And what happened is they open sourced the product under our open source license, and they allowed developers to download it and use it. And we started getting tremendous traction of people using it for all different types of innovative apps, and I'll walk you through some of those customer success stories today. Small companies that are developing, that are nimble, startups were downloading it. And what we saw is the big enterprises started downloading it as well. So startups who wanted to become enterprises and enterprises who want to become startups started downloading the software and using it. We then decided that, this product is starting more and more to be used in mission-critical applications. Application developers were building things on MongoDB. They were taking the data and building apps like online banking and IoT, and I'll walk you through them. And they started to become mission-critical. They required support. They required tools. They required integrations to great products like Stradio. They required the ability to be flexible, scalable, and secure. So Mongo decided to build a framework around our open source database, which is our enterprise products. And now hundreds, if not thousands, of customers are using the enterprise version to take these projects, these applications into production. We've also brought on a very strong management team. We have large investors like Sequoia, but the company really has been set up to help developers innovate and build these applications for production, for mission criticality. Here's some examples of those customers. So I had the honor of going to Telefonica yesterday. I've been to Telefonica before. And every time I go, I just get more and more excited about the innovation at Telefonica. Telefonica uses MongoDB. One of the use cases that I've been told they're using MongoDB for is smart cities. A simple use case of, at every city there are trash cans, right? And the trash cans usually fill up. You also have security problems with trash cans. We all know the threats that trash cans they can be havens for things that are bad for us, as you all know. So they put sensors on these trash cans and created a smart city grid. When the trash can hits a certain limit, the sensor calls the mothership at Telefonica, and they're able to have someone go take the trash out of the trash can. If someone is doing something incorrectly in the trash can, the sensor picks it up. MongoDB is used as a database to collect all that data from thousands of trash cans in this smart city. Just one example of something innovative. Think about how much money that saves the city, the state, of solving that problem. Think about the security it also provides around this simple service that we take for granted, but is so important for a state and a city to handle. All right? And there's other companies that I'll walk you through, big companies, small companies, enterprises, startups. I'll give you more examples. I mentioned the adoption of Mongo. So since 2008, over 20 million developers have downloaded MongoDB. We think this is one of the most widely downloaded pieces of software in the history of open source technology. And these people have downloaded all across the world. Obviously, I'm from the United States. The people download them in the United States. Downloaded them in Europe. Here in Spain, it's been downloaded numerous times. MongoDB has a team locally here in Spain because we're investing in this fantastic country, in this fantastic region. In Asia, we have teams in Greater China, in India, in Australia, and Japan that are downloading, and those customers there are downloading MongoDB. Even in Africa, South Africa, Middle Africa, they're downloading MongoDB. So developers are taking it and innovating. That's what we want to do. We want to make it easy for developers to download it and innovate. We want to make the database no longer a problem. Make it transparent and easy for the developers to use the database. So a lot of people have downloaded it, and what our challenge is to make sure that they can get to production as fast as possible. That is our fundamental mission. Now, the analysts have also looked at Mongo. And like I said, I don't want this to be a commercial, but I do need to just say out here that if you're thinking about downloading a database software, we are focused on making sure you're going to be successful when you run it in production. So the analysts have looked at all the database players, and Forrester this year ranked them all. They have Mongo ranked the highest. And part of the criteria is ability to execute. Can we support our developers? Bottom line. Are developers going to get a good product? Yes. Are they going to be supported if it fails? Yes. Are they going to get support? Are they going to get tools? Are they going to have someone to call? Services as well. So we want to make sure the developers are protected. They are behind every chief innovation officer. We also, and this is why I bring up this slide, we also see the developers as our customers. That is our #1 customer inside a bank or a startup. So this stat shows how MongoDB is being adopted by the developers. This is compound annual growth based on Stack Overflow's insights of the developers. You can see how MongoDB's growth is second to none. We ask you if you want to participate in the Stack Overflow website. You can share whether you like Mongo or not. We ask you to participate. So one of the reasons I joined MongoDB, I'm not a database guy. I'm an infrastructure guy. I've worked at companies like BMC Software and others. And when I came to MongoDB, I did my due diligence. Why should I join this company? So I called up my cousin, who I thought was one of the smartest developers I know, and I said, hey, what do you know about MongoDB? He said, not only do I know about it, Alan, my company is using it. He has a startup of 3 people, and they built their product. The company's called SenderGen, and they were building their product on MongoDB. And he was telling me about how it's helped him, 3 people, build a product quickly where they don't have to license things that are expensive like at Oracle and other software companies. And now his company is actually used by Salesforce.com. That quick. It's a 3-person company that became 10 using MongoDB. So when my cousin told me, and the CEO of SenderGen told me that he was using MongoDB and they're a small company growing to become a big one, I kind of felt like there was something really cool here, that developers truly were using it to innovate, and they were having challenges buying or getting software from the big software companies. So another thing that I think is important for anyone who's in IT or in development is your career. All right, bottom line is we're all here because we have a career, right? We're interested in big data because of our career. We want to progress in our career. We want to innovate. We also have to feed our family and take care of our loved ones, okay? So we at Mongo also want to protect our developer community. So what we found is at least in the United States, LinkedIn is very important, okay? So what we found is we did an analysis that one of the #1 skill sets posted on LinkedIn around database is MongoDB. So it's very important for us to protect the growth of our developers as they progress in their career. So we're offering training and other tools to help you. All right, so if you want to invest in Mongo, know that you have people behind MongoDB that want to help you. So you can go to MongoDB's website, you can go to MongoDB University, there's all this free training available. It's important for us to protect your careers because we feel like that's also something that some of the other software companies have not followed. All right, let me get into use cases. I mentioned IoT. I'll talk a little bit more about that of another use case, but I mentioned the smart city IoT use case that Telefonica is driving. There's also cloud. MongoDB is just as prevalent in the cloud as it is on-premise, and we have our own cloud offerings. There's thousands, not hundreds of thousands of MongoDBs deployed in multiple public clouds like Telefonica and Amazon and Google and Azure. I'll walk you through content management system, big data lakes, legacy modernization. You heard that great case study that Paradigma Stradio was mentioning where they're modernizing these legacy apps, helping the dragons or creating new dragons. Modernization is important. And then single view. You heard single view on Oscar's presentation was a 360 view. Same concept. So let's start with content management systems. So Adobe and Sitecore are the 2 largest content management systems in the world. You can buy Adobe or Sitecore for your own enterprise, and it helps you manage your digital assets. Both embed MongoDB. So the #1, #2 content management systems in the world embed MongoDB, and the reason why is if you're going to manage all these digital assets, you need to be able to put the data somewhere. And putting the data somewhere, these are videos, they are PDFs, they're photos. Think about the video I just showed you. Are you going to store that in a spreadsheet? No, you're going to put that in a digital management system, and you need to have a flexible database that's multi-purpose like Mongo that can handle documents and non-documents, and that's why both of these giants embed Mongo in their software. Single view or 360 view. MetLife is one of our marquee success stories. So MetLife's a very big financial services company, mostly in the United States, but overseas as well. So they had a challenge, and it's a pretty common challenge in the financial services sector. So in the US, I own home insurance and I own car insurance, but I do not own renter's insurance. I do not have a 401k with the same FinServ that I have my insurance with. I don't have a banking account with them. When a lot of these FinServs call me to try to sell me something, they have no idea what I actually own from that bank because all of that information is in different systems. And when the agent calls me, they don't know who or what I am. It's hard to sell to someone when you don't know what they own from you. So MetLife has created something called the wall. Similar to a Facebook wall, the wall, based on MongoDB, is aggregating personnel information of me, the buyer, so when an agent calls me, they know I own home insurance and car insurance, but I do not have a bank account or a 401k with them. So you know what? I probably want to talk to Alan about a 401k or a bank account, not about home insurance and car insurance. This is a very common use case in the financial services sector. It can be called 360 view, single view. The MetLife calls it the wall, and is powered by MongoDB. I'll walk you a little bit through big data lakes in a second. Legacy modernization, paradigma, phenomenal system integrator, great partner of MongoDB. We have them ranked one of the highest system integrators in the company. Infosys is another one. Infosys has decided to train 1,000 consultants on MongoDB. They're going across all their customers and helping them migrate off Oracle to a MongoDB platform for their application. Just an example of the innovation of modernization. But let me give you a customer that actually is doing this. So Barclays, we probably all heard of Barclays. Barclays is one of the biggest banks in the world. Barclays had a challenge where smaller banks, .com banks, were offering more innovative online banking solutions. And the folks in the room today are probably more used to using their phone for banking than going to an actual franchise bank or talking to a teller. So these banks have a challenge. How do they innovate around online banking and prevent loss of market share? So what they have done is they built online banking solutions based on MongoDB, but this is a challenge, okay? Because most of the data lives on a mainframe if you're a bank. So think about everyone has a phone here and they're potentially paying a bill, and if everyone in the room is paying that bill at the same time or leaving the online bank application open, they're hitting a mainframe. Think about the expense of the MIPS that have been generated and turning and churning around by people hitting a mainframe for an online banking solution. So banks like this, they love the mainframe, they love cloud, mobility is their future, but they have to find a way to be able to provide a good online banking solution without hurting the costs of the mainframe. So they use solutions like MongoDB as systems of distribution behind the mainframe, which are systems of record. And this distribution layer, the data gets cached up to this distribution layer, it's easier for them then to basically provide an online banking, because a banking app touches MongoDB, MongoDB is getting the data from the mainframe. Way more cost efficient, it's a way for them to modernize. Once the data is in MongoDB, they can innovate twice as fast, if not 3 times as fast, and Barclays is doing this for every online banking application. The amount of money Barclays has saved here is phenomenal, just by making sure that they use the mainframe for what it's for, mission criticality of storing data, not for a system of distribution for online banking. I'll give you another example. So we're in a movie cinema today, so I thought it was very relevant for me to share what Sky TV is doing with MongoDB. And you heard about the great success story of Netflix. I mean, Netflix was able to disrupt this market and really, really cause some damage to companies like Blockbuster, where Blockbuster provided videotapes where you would go to the store and rent them. Netflix innovated using the cloud, and Amazon, they provide streaming videos. You can get it from home, on the airplane, etc. Sky TV was having challenges in this space. They were losing business to Amazon, to Netflix. They had to innovate, so they came up with Now TV. Now TV is powered by MongoDB. They have over 150 million searches a day, and MongoDB is the database behind it. They're providing all these great streaming videos that you can use. Now, you're still going to probably come to a place like this to watch the brand new releases, but if you want to watch a video at home and you're using Now TV, MongoDB is powering that customer. Now, you've heard the last couple of days about big data lakes. So where does Mongo fit in this big data lake world, right? This extension of enterprise data warehouses. We fit in, and I'm going to walk you through it real quick. Net, there's a whole ecosystem of partners that we've integrated to make it easy for developers to put Mongo inside a big data lake. Now, I'm not the most technical guy around databases. Like I said, I come from infrastructure. But here's my analogy of what a data lake and how Mongo fits in. Think of the shopping market when you go buy groceries, and you have things organized neatly in the rows of the shopping shopping store, right? You have your cereals lined up nicely, you have your eggs in a certain place, you have your vegetables, and you have the candy that the kids go to all the time in the shopping store, right? If I needed to take all that stuff out of the store and load it up on a truck and then drive it to another store, imagine if I was doing that without any organization. I just took every row of food and dumped it into the truck. And now imagine if I did that to 10 stores, and I just dumped it into the truck, and I then drove the trucks to a central warehouse, and I just dropped everything off, and I didn't organize it at all. That is a common problem when it comes to big data. The data is all getting into a place, but it's unorganized. It's duplicated. Things are corrupt. When you drive a bunch of food on a truck somewhere, you're going to have food that potentially goes bad. All right? So it's important that when you get that data into the lake or the store or the warehouse, you have it in a place that can be used well and organized. MongoDB's layer allows you to do that. It doesn't replace your Hadoop environment. It fits very nicely with the Stratio connectors to run new types of queries and analytics. It fits well with the Tableau world, and you can run real-time applications off it as well. It fits in very nicely to help you organize that data, especially inside your data lake. And we feel that's the biggest challenge when it comes to big data. Not getting the data to the place, using it. And that's why a lot of big data projects have failed, because they're not using the data that they're getting to the repositories. I mentioned IoT with Telefonica. Here's another example. Infosys developed a solution. This is one of the largest mobile device providers in the world. They're using IoT, and the use case is machine learning. So if you're a manufacturing company today, you're going to use innovative solutions to make your production of hardware more efficient. If you find on the assembly line that a widget is off by a millimeter, you want to find out in real time, because if you don't, you're going to have thousands of devices that have that defect, and you have to start all those over again. So they're using Internet of Things in these assembly lines to check the problems right in real time to figure out where there's a problem, report back to the mothership, stop the assembly line, fix the defect, start it up again. MongoDB is used as a database to collect all that data from these sensors on the assembly line. This is one of the world's largest mobile providers. They're using Mongo on these assembly lines to make sure they produce a good product for you that do not have defects, and along the way, they're going to save a lot of money doing that. I mentioned cloud. So what we found is that our customers are demanding a great cloud experience. Okay, so they want from MongoDB the ability to come to our site. Hey, we're not experts in MongoDB, but we want to get MongoDB and use it for our developers. Give us a managed service offering in the cloud where you provide the backups, the automation, the upgrades, and we develop on top of that. So you can go to our website today, log in, use your credit card, or call us if you want to talk to a salesperson, and get a fully managed MongoDB as a service. Today it runs in Amazon. You can also soon get it in Azure and Google. In the future, we may add other providers to the mix. But we're trying to make it easier and more cost-effective for developers to get access to this who don't have the expertise. Go to our Atlas offering. And you can see the growth in this offering. It's really helped us as a company, but more importantly, it's helped the developers. And like I mentioned, this is not just for the US. 30% of the people using MongoDB are outside of the US. And it expands into regions. And I'm hoping that many customers in Spain will adopt this technology. The team is here locally. We have a booth. Feel free to come by and learn more about the product. We also are investing in the future of our products. So this is the roadmap timeline of MongoDB since 2012. And you can see the releases of where we're adding more innovation. But the one common thing is to give you tools and features to build apps for production. That's our #1 goal. Allow you to innovate and build apps for production. So the features that are based here are all things that should help you build apps for production. And where we get these requirements are from the developers. We've had over 55 user groups across all countries yearly to get developers to tell us what to do. It's an open source product. You tell us what to do. We get it into the roadmap, we give you the product, you're off and running and developing based on MongoDB. Now, the team had shared that there are a lot of partners in the room, folks that are looking to help customers achieve success and integrate all these products. You're hearing about so many products the last 2 days. Integrators like Paradigma are going to be there for you to integrate these things. MongoDB is here for our partners. There is no channel conflict when it comes to Mongo. We are 100% partner-friendly. My job and part of the company is to make sure partners get what they need from my leadership as well as from my sales team and give you the partners the training. We rely on partners. We're only a 700-person company. So partners help us extend to geographic regions. They help us with adoption. Number one thing is they help customers deploy mission-critical apps. That's the number one objective. So if you're a partner and interested also in working with us, just tweet me at Chhabra or contact me on LinkedIn or one of the guys from our team here in Spain. And if you're a partner, we want to work with you. We're not the company out there that wants to take business away from partners. We need partners to be successful. So with that, I just want to thank everyone again for working with MongoDB. Obviously, Stradio and Paradigma are huge partners of ours, and we're looking for tremendous adoption in Spain, and that's why we're hiring local people here. So go meet the team at the booth, and I just want to say how honored I am to be here today. Thank you.